Welcome back to the Kaspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about taking profits on your Kaspa. And before we get into exactly what my strategy is when I'm going to be taking profits, let's first get some context and talk about what actually is happening when you decide to take profits from Kaspa. So when you take profits, you are selling your Kaspa for a fiat currency. And for my case, it's going to be the US dollar. And for you guys, it may be another type of fiat currency. But generally, all fiat currencies are pretty much similar in their faults. But you are leaving a system that is scalable, secure, and decentralized, and also deflationary. And you are going into a system that has always been trending to zero. And if we're looking at something like the US dollar and its purchasing power, you could see how that it's always been trending towards zero. You're also going into a system that has about $35 trillion in US national debt, and that's not even considering US unfunded liabilities, which is currently over $218 trillion. And every time I was considering taking a profit with Kaspa, I always struggled with this question, because the question you have to ask yourself is, where am I going to place my profits? And so is it good to just simply take a profit and just hold US dollars and just save it in a bank? Well, right now it is not too bad to maybe save your money in a high yield savings account and get about maybe 4 to 5% interest. But this is pretty much not really going to help you fight inflation, as inflation is typically way over this 4 to 5%. And also over time, the federal government is going to cut interest rates, which will then cut how much these high yield savings accounts are doing. Once they put interest rates back at like 2 to 1%, then your high yield savings account will go back to those similar levels. And at that point, you are seriously not fighting inflation and just simply devaluing your wealth. And so, in my opinion, I view Kaspa as an ultra high yield checking account. And you could see that over the past year to date returns over the years. In 2022, Kaspa produced a 3,000% return. In 2023, it produced another close to 3,000% return. And in 2024, this year, has produced about only a 45% return, but there's still a lot left in this year, and I believe that it possibly does have a good bit to grow before the end of the year. But nonetheless, we're seeing Kaspa producing good returns year after year. Of course, they're going to be diminishing because Kaspa is just a much larger project nowadays. But if we look at Kaspa year to date, it's about plus 40%. And in the last 4 years, homes are up 51%, food is up 30%, cars are up 26%, and your dollar purchasing power is down negative 18%, and the all-time purchasing power is down over negative 19%. And Kaspa is just simply harder, sounder money, and I'm going to save less in fiat and more in Kaspa. And so when you're considering to take a profit, another thing that a lot of people tend to forget is taxes. So you always got to make sure you remember to calculate your taxes. And for me personally, I would be falling into this 15% bracket for the US. And if you are selling anytime earlier than 1 year, your short-term capital gains tax are going to be much, much worse. So you really got to have a long-term mindset when it comes to investing. And personally, that's what I believe Kaspa is built for. I'm playing the long game for Kaspa, and I typically am not a fan of trading in and out the markets, trying to time the market, because ultimately to me, it's a losing game. I mean, if we were looking at day trading statistics for 2024, you can see that around 80% of traders quit within a couple of years. Day traders had the mindset to sell the winners at a 50% higher rate. 40% of day traders quit their field within the first month due to losses. And this is the main one here. Only 1% of the day traders make a profit. Most day traders with past performance have a successful career in the later years. And so, are you going to be a part of that 1%? I don't think so. A lot of people will probably not be a part of that 1%. And so what has consistently worked for a bigger majority of people is playing the long game and dollar cost averaging into good quality assets, and then watching those assets grow over time and managing them, making sure that they're still sound. And so here is my personal strategy for taking profits with Kaspa. Before, I used to think, hey, let me just set a price target and then just sell the Kaspa. But then I was struggling, like I said, with what I'm going to do with that money. So instead of taking a profit for a new car, a new phone, a new PC, or a vacation, I personally don't believe this is a good reason to take a profit from your Kaspa. But instead, if I'm going to take profits from Kaspa, I want to better myself financially. That will allow me to make more money or save more money and then maybe possibly reinvest back into Kaspa, or possibly save more, or just diversify more into other assets that will make me more money over time. So, in my opinion, I think the focus for taking a profit on Kaspa should be to better yourself financially. And those things would be like debt or house payment, pretty much. Those are like the main things that I think you should focus on killing first, because when you kill these things out of your life, then this allows you to have much more money that stays in your pocket. I mean, if you have $30,000 in debt and you're making payments every month, imagine if you did not have that debt anymore, and that payment that you were now making every single month is now going to an investment, or is going to savings, or is even going to these items right here, like a new car, new phone, new PC, vacation. I personally believe these things are things you can save for yourself, and you shouldn't be selling your assets to acquire these kind of goods, because these kind of goods don't produce any more income, passive income over time. It doesn't create you more wealth. Usually lose value after purchasing these things. So for this example, this is not exactly my Kaspa bag. I'm just going to be putting an example here. So let's say I had $30,000 in debt. So my goal would be that I want to kill this debt. I want to use my profits to get rid of this debt and better myself financially. But I also believe in Kaspa in the long run. I believe Kaspa is able to stick around for the next decade or even more. Of course, we're always going to be analyzing Kaspa and doing research to making sure that it's remaining sound and something good to continue investing in for the long run. Because of course, past performance does not guarantee future results. But I do want to generally keep a bag of Kaspa for the longer run. So let's say I had 250,000 Kaspa and my average cost was about 3 cents. So that means I invested $7,500. And today, the last time I checked, Kaspa was sitting at around 8 cents. So that puts me at a total value of $42,000. The profit is $34,500. So how much would I need to sell to be able to kill this $30,000 in debt? Well, I want to still have left over 100,000 Kaspa. And of course, for every single other person, it's going to be different. Everyone's going to have a certain amount of Kaspa that they want to make sure they keep for the longer term if they really believe in Kaspa as a long-term play. For me, I want to make sure I keep 100K Kaspa. This is all just for an example here. So what I'm going to do is basically put a formula here that shows that I want to keep 100K Kaspa. So I'll put the equal sign, I'll grab this and subtract 100K. That way it will give me the amount that I will need to sell so that I will have $100,000 left over. So you will see that I need to sell 150,000 Kaspa. And then what I have here is different price targets, and it'll tell me how much my profit would be when I sell at those price targets. I also have a formula here that works according to how my taxes work here in the US, that will calculate how much tax I would need to pay, and then how much left over I would have after those taxes. So you could see here that right now, if I had 250,000 to Kaspa and I want to make sure I keep 100,000 Kaspa after I sell, I would need to wait for 25 cents so that I can kill this $30,000 in debt. And let's say I wanted to kill this house payment, $250,000 left on the house payment. And this scenario here, you'll see that I would need to wait for $2. Now, some people may not have the patience to wait for $2. We don't know if Kaspa is going to for sure go to $2. So there's a lot of unknowns to this. But the good thing about having a goal of trying to kill your debt or kill something that will better yourself financially is that these items will not remain this amount forever. So while you're working towards killing this debt by investing into an asset that may be able to produce enough returns to kill it, you are also paying this down every month. I mean, so it's every month that Kaspa doesn't hit 25 cents, this continues to decrease, which then only results in you needing a lower price target to be able to pay off this debt. Same with the house. So, and another way that you could speed this up is while you are still paying off these debts, you're still investing a little bit into Kaspa to keep growing this bag. And that way, let's say over time, Kaspa is still stagnating at certain price levels, not hitting the price level you need. But over that time, you're able to acquire like 350,000 Kaspa instead. And let me put that in here. You can see that if I hit 350,000 Kaspa, instead of waiting for $2, I only need $1.15 now to hit that $250,000 mark. So this is just a way that I'm going to be personally taking profits from Kaspa, and that's when I'm able to pay off something in my life that will better my life financially. And for me personally, that would be like my mortgage, because I have no debt at all, and I pretty much just try to stay out of debt as much as I can. The only thing I have is a mortgage, and if I was able to kill a mortgage, that will free up a couple $1,000s a month to be able to reinvest into Kaspa or to save for other things that I want to buy. Things like new car, new phone, I can now use that money that I was putting to a house to pay for these things instead. And I don't even need to touch my bag to pay for these kind of things that I personally don't believe are valuable enough to take a profit from Kaspa from, because I believe Kaspa is going to be one of the most superior assets out there in the market. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me explaining how I'm going to be taking my profits with Kaspa. And if you guys want to see my exact numbers of how much Kaspa I hold, you can see this by joining my private Discord, by supporting my Patreon. You can click the link to that. It's $15 a month, but you get access to the private Discord, which will allow you to see my entire portfolio, my entire net worth, the percentage of my net worth that's in Kaspa and in other assets. And also you'll be able to see these videos before they go out live to everyone else as a thank you for supporting me. So thank you guys again so much for watching this video. And before we go, if you have not considered getting yourself a Kaspa Tangem branded wallet, there's 148 left, and the shipping will start at the end of August. And I was getting a lot of comments of people asking me if whether or not this exchange is safe to keep your Kaspa and whatnot. And guys, no exchange is ever safe to keep your Kaspa. Whenever you keep your Kaspa on an exchange, you don't actually own it. The exchange owns it. So it's so important to make sure you self-custody your Kaspa, because the whole point of cryptocurrency was to remove the middleman and no longer trust third parties with your funds. Instead, you trust yourself. You secure your funds yourself. So Tangem is a great start into getting your Kaspa and putting it offline and off exchanges into a cold storage self-custodial cold wallet. So if you guys are interested, you can use the code Kaspa Silver at the checkout. You'll get 10% off, and I do receive a commission if you use my code, and it greatly supports the channel. So thank you so much for considering that. And if you guys are new around here, please subscribe, leave a like on this video, and as always, don't be average, be different.